Good day and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I'm your usual host and presenter, Advocate Baloi. If this was not a serious murder case, it would be laughable. If we're not here talking about the death of a human being, if we're not here talking about the death of MEYIWA, a national icon during his lifetime, and a human being like all of us, the whole thing, I would just dismiss the whole thing as a circus. Because where are we now? What is going on in the Pretoria High Court is simply disgusting. And Munisi stood up to object to this thing that's unfolding there. And the judge would have none of what Munisi was trying to suggest. What is Baloi doing? Baloi has turned into an expert witness of the prosecution. He is now both a prosecutor and his own witness and his own expert witness. He has now turned into a telecommunications, or styled himself a telecommunications expert, as he narrates or reads from that evidence which is tendering about cell phone communications between the accused persons in various places in KZN, which places are apparently known to Absalom Zungu. That is the only reason why Baloi has been agitating all that hodgepodge of cell phone towers, one number, being picked up by a cell phone tower in some area in KZN. I mean, the places are not even important for me. And that number calling yet another number, which is picked by a cell phone tower, whatever. Now, you ask yourself, where are we now? Zungu said one simple thing, and my Zulu is not that good, but I will say this. He has told the Pretoria High Court that ugininda ukhuluma ngegama lami. Ukhuluma ngegama lami. Right? And that has hurt me. He's talking about my name, and that has hurt me. And you don't see Baloi moving in that direction to say, is it true that Gininda has talked about your name, Absalom Zungu, in a fraudulent affidavit? That is the question that you must be. That's the sort of evidence we want to listen to. Not all these regurgitations of communications which occurred in 2014 that nobody recalls. Nobody can recall a 2014 call. If you are confronted with information that in 2014 you made a call to somebody, that's ridiculous. It is simply a desperate measure by the prosecution now. The prosecution is fishing in the dark. And fortunately for it, the court is going on along with it. Because Advocate Nisi, sometime this morning, stood up and said, no, but what has this all got to do with Absalom Zungu? And the court said, no, Judge Ratama Mkhotle just said, no. Let him give me all that information, even if it is only just for the court. For what purpose, I do not know. So, expert witness Baloi now for the prosecution. He's playing a double role here. He has got a double agenda. He's both the prosecutor and his own star witness. So, witness Baloi now is agitating all these things to Absalom Zungu. And as Absalom Zungu sits there, you can see that Absalom Zungu pardon my language, couldn't give a damn what Baloi says or does not say, with all that maze of telephone calls from one person to another, from one tower to another, and all the rest of it. He is sitting there waiting to cross-examine Baloi. You see, Baloi has been trying to cross-examine Absalom Zungu, and Absalom Zungu has just, abused him. Absalom Zungu has virtually turned himself into a prosecutor, and he's cross-examining Baloi as Baloi tries to play that role of cross-examination. Absalom Zungu is doing the cross-examination here. So come the end of all this charade that is unfolding now, perhaps Baloi will be looking forward to Absalom Zungu responding. I don't know whether he will say, can you respond to all this information that I've agitated at you, or he will then go through that information piece by piece and dissect it for him and say to him, number 072 blah 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 called this number in 2014. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's bound to get some blistering response from Absalom Zungu. Absalom Zungu is not going to wait for, he's not going to take kindly to such nonsensical cross-examination, because this is Baloi's own evidence. This is Baloi's own evidence. Who is going to look into the veracity of all this? How is the court sitting there going to establish the veracity of all these telephone calls that are being, mentioned here as having taken place? How is the court going to determine that? The court is not in a position to determine that. And the veracity of what Baloi is, saying is in doubt, But Radha is just too happy to listen to Baloi, say whatever he wants to say. No wonder that courtroom now is empty. Very empty. Just the security people around there. And nobody is taking any interest anymore in this trial. People just simply don't bother to go to the Pretoria High Court. And as Baloi was agitating all that information, I could see, Muzisi B and Bongani Ntanzi just chatting away between themselves, conducting a conversation, virtually saying, this is trash, or what is this all about? So we are bound, or we are unfortunately going to, have to endure that testimony of Baloi, probably for the whole afternoon. The sooner it comes to an end, the better, because in a later edition of the Daily Fix, I want to bring you the cross-examination of, mark my words, of Absalom Zungu, when he cross-examines Baloi about this expert evidence that Baloi is now tendering. Because Absalom Zungu has got no response to give with regard to that information that Baloi has tendered before the court. He is simply going to throw questions at him. And this is the sense of MEYIWA trial. But what is the purpose of all this? We are here to establish the veracity of that hearsay evidence, the circumstances under which it was made. And it has been established that it has been fraudulently made. That will be the end of the story. What are we up to now? Where is the court going? I don't know. But in a later edition, I'll bring you, an update on the non-progress that I see taking place there. The non-progress of this matter. And Absalom Zungu is just sitting there bored to the bone. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. Let me thank you for all the views, subscriptions, and shares and likes that I'm seeing. And have a wonderful, wonderful